What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. Manchester United are back in action again in the Premier League. Match day 5 up against Chelsea at Old Trafford. 5:30 p.m. kickoff tomorrow and manager is Enzo Maresca. So in terms of some head-to-head last season in the Premier League, at home Manchester United drew 1-1. This was in November 2024, shortly after Erik ten Hag got sacked and Ruud van Nistelrooy was appointed as interim manager. Bruno Fernandes scored a penalty and then Moises Caicedo levelled it in the 74th minute to make it 1-1. However, away from home, Manchester United did lose 1-0 in May 2025 courtesy of a Marc Cucurella goal. In terms of last season under Maresca, Chelsea managed to finish 4th in the Premier League with a total of 69 points. They won a total of 20 games, drew 9, lost 9, scored a total of 64 goals, conceded 43 and finished with a goal difference of plus 21. So in terms of some insights for the match, let's get into some insights for the match for you right now. So Manchester United are unbeaten in their last 12 Premier League home games against Chelsea, winning 5 and drawing 7 since a 1-0 defeat in May 2013. Indeed, Chelsea's win rate of 18% at Old Trafford in the Premier League is their lowest away to any side they have visited 10 plus times in the competition. After the 1-0 win in May, Chelsea are looking for successive league victories over Manchester United for the first time since winning 3 in a row from November 2009 to March 2011 under Carlo Ancelotti. The Blues' 2 wins in their last 3 league games versus the Red Devils are as many as in their previous 17 beforehand. Chelsea versus Manchester United is the most drawn fixture in the Premier League history, finishing level 27 times. 14 of those draws have come at Old Trafford, with Everton against Spurs at Goodison Park the only fixture at a Pacific venue to be drawn more often in the competition. So Manchester United have won 2 of their last 3 home Premier League matches, as many as in their previous 11 at Old Trafford, combined, winning 2, drawing 2 and losing 7. They are looking for successive home league victories within the same season and under the same manager for the first time since December 2023 under Erik ten Hag. And finally, only Manchester City with 8.5 have a higher expected goals total than Manchester United with 8.3 so far in the Premier League this season. However, only Burnley with a 9.4, Aston Villa with a 7.4 and Wolves with a 7.2 have a higher expected goals against than the Red Devils with a 6.9 for Manchester United. So there's some stats for you. It's looking alright in terms of our head-to-head against Chelsea at home, but you know our form in the Premier League since the start of last season hasn't been great. So in terms of some recent form for Chelsea, if we speak about that a little bit, Chelsea are coming away with a midweek loss to Bayern Munich away from home in the Champions League. They lost 3-1 unfortunately, and before that in the league they did draw to Brentford 2-2. They thought they had won it by scoring a late goal, I think in the 85th minute, but Brentford managed to equalise to make it 2-2. However, Chelsea are only the second unbeaten side in the Premier League. They've played 4 matches, of course. They've won 2 and they've lost 2. The only other unbeaten side in the Premier League is Liverpool. Chelsea currently sit 5th in the Premier League with 4 games played, 2 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses, 9 goals scored, 3 against, plus 6 goal difference, and they've accumulated a total of 8 points. So in terms of Chelsea's team news, Lavia, Levi Colwill, Asogo and Liam Delap are all out with injuries. So this is how I'm expecting Chelsea to line up tomorrow. Obviously Sanchez in net, a back 4 of James, Tosin, Chalobah and Cucurella, Caicedo and Fernandes, Enzo Fernandes making up the 2 in midfield, Neto, Palmer and Gittins making up the 3 in behind João Pedro. So in terms of how Chelsea like to play, Maresca's Chelsea have a modern possession dominant system that seems like it's heavily influenced by his time working under Pep Guardiola. Key principles are control build-up, fluid rotations and a relentless press. On paper, it looks and starts as a 4-2-3-1 that could morph into a 3-2-4-1 or even a 3-2-5 like a lot of teams do at the moment when in possession. You'll see the likes of Reece James and Marc Cucurella inverting into midfield to overload those central areas and create numerical superiority. That allows Chelsea That allows Chelsea's midfielders like Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo to begin to dictate tempo with short progressive passes, while the front line, starring Cole Palmer, drifts in and out as a 10, and the two wingers exploit the half spaces and switches of play to try and get 1v1 versus their defender. So in terms of some other key principles, like I mentioned, a possession-based build-up, Chelsea start attacks from deep, using the goalkeeper and defenders to build up, often forming a double pivot in midfield, fluid rotations. The team shifts between a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 formation and a dynamic 3-1-6 or a 3-2-5 when in possession, particularly with inverted fullbacks. They like to control and have tempo. Maresca's philosophy is about controlling the game's rhythm through quick ball rotations, forcing defenders to spread out and create space, and exploiting space as well. The team looks to create and exploit gaps in the opposition's defence by stretching the play wide and through intelligent movement in the final third. And finally, they like to play with a high defensive line. A high line is used to support possession and press opponents effectively when possession is lost. In terms of the final third, they're going to utilize the tactics such as the overlap. This involves wide players, usually fullbacks, making forward runs to get around the winger, providing an extra attacking option on the flanks. Underlaps as well. When the winger receives the ball out wide, he will attract the opposition fullback. This opens the space between the fullback and the centre-back, which allows their number 8 to make underlapping runs into the space. And finally, many players in the box as well. The midfielders and wingers always look to make runs into the box when the ball is in the final third, often getting 4 or 5 players into these areas to create overloads. The numerical advantages in the box increases their chance of connecting with the cross as more players are present, presenting multiple targets for the crosser, making it harder for defenders to mark everyone effectively. So in terms of out of possession, Maresca's Chelsea are characterised by energetic counter-pressing to win the ball back quickly, often in the opponent's half, and a high defensive line designed to force long balls that they can intercept. If they don't regain possession immediately, the team retreats into a more compact shape, typically a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-1-4-1 to establish a solid defensive block. So in terms of key principles defensively, aggressive counter-pressing, Chelsea look to win the ball back high up the pitch as soon as possession is lost, using numbers to apply pressure and disrupt the opponent's build-up. High defensive line, the team employs a high defensive line to compress the space, making it harder for opponents to play through them. Forced long balls. This high line and intense pressing forces opponents to play long aerial balls, which Chelsea's defenders are positioned to intercept and regain control. And rapid reorganisation. So after the initial press, if the ball is not won, players quickly recover to their base formation, which is often a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-1-4-1 to form a strong defensive structure. And a focus on intensity. There's a strong emphasis on individual challenge intensity to win the ball back quickly. And finally, man-to-man marking. Players engage in man-to-man marking, especially in defensive situations, to nullify opposition threats. And defensively, they're going to squeeze really high. They're going to push up and be aggressive. They're going to press you on any sort of sideways or backwards pass and make it difficult for you to play out from the back. They're going to try force turnovers, and they're going to try launch quick counters as well. So Maresca's out of possession tactics are about taking the initiative. Chelsea aim to press high and aggressively, but they are also tactically disciplined enough to drop back and organise into a solid defensive block if the initial press is broken. The goal is to limit the opponent's ability to build from the back, win the ball in dangerous areas, and transition quickly to attack. In terms of Chelsea's star man, I'm going to have to say it's Cole Palmer. He's very dangerous in and around the box. He scored 15 goals and provided 8 assists in the league last season, so he's one to be looking out for. So that's Chelsea for you. In terms of Manchester United, we are coming away with a disappointing derby defeat to Manchester City, where we lost 3-0 last week. It was a poor performance and, of course, a poor result. And for the goals that we conceded, it was individual errors, but I think tactically Ruben Amorim did kind of get it wrong. For the first goal, Doku skins Luke Shaw, and Bruno lets Foden run into the box. and then Foden gets a free header. For the second goal, it's a good build-up play by Manchester City, but it's poor defensively by United. We were not. It was like the second goal that we conceded was a category of errors by everyone. I think Ugarte steps out, and then Bruno Fernandes isn't there to help him out either. Haaland then bodies Shaw as well to score the second goal, and I think it's Doku who rolls Lenny Yoro quite easily to get away from him, and then Haaland bodies Shaw for the second goal, and then for the third goal, Shaw then sells Maguire a short back pass, which Haaland latches onto for the third goal. It was a shocking performance by Luke Shaw, it has to be said. I'm not just singling him out, but obviously the whole team was really poor. And in terms of Ruben Amorim and my faith in him, I don't see how Ruben Amorim can turn this around. I think his sack is inevitable. Of course, I want to be proven wrong, and I want us to win every single game of football. And of course, I'm going to support United, no matter who the manager is and no matter who is on the pitch. I don't want to see us lose. So I'm going to support us, however bad it gets, because I want us to win every single game of football. But it's difficult to see how Ruben Amorim turns this around, honestly. Like, I've started to lose quite a lot of faith in him, and the Ruben Amorim's record in the Premier League speaks volumes for itself. He's 31 games, 8 wins, 7 draws, 16 losses, and 31 points. It's relegation form. Losing the Europa League final to Spurs, losing to League 2 Grimsby, pathetic Derby Day performance. These are multiple sackable offences by Ruben Amorim. So I'm starting to lose faith with him. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong and he can turn it around, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to do so. But yeah, in terms of United team news, Dalot and Martinez and Malacia are all out, but Ruben Amorim did provide a positive update on the United squad in advance of Saturday's Premier League encounter with Chelsea. The good news is both Mason Mount and Matheus Cunha are available to return after missing the derby due to injury. Diego Dalot is still sidelined after sustaining a problem while on international duty, and Lisandro Martinez is continuing his recovery from a new operation sustained last season. So in terms of United starting 11, this is my preferred, not predicted. I'm not sure how Ruben Amorim is going to line us up, but I've got San Lemens making his first start for Manchester United because I think Bayinde has been unconvincing so far this season. A back three of Yoro, Delay and Mazraoui. I'm putting in Mazraoui ahead of Luke Shaw simply because I was really disappointed with Luke Shaw's Derby Day performance. I thought he was at fault for basically all the goals, and I know obviously there were individual errors elsewhere as well leading to all the goals, but Luke Shaw was at fault for literally all the goals. Obviously there were individual errors elsewhere as well leading up to the build-up, but Luke Shaw, in my opinion, he needs to improve drastically. I don't understand how he's lasted this long at United. Honestly, I was really disappointed with him. That's why I've got Mazraoui starting ahead of Luke Shaw. Then a midfield four of Ahmad, Mainu, Fernandes and Dogu. In terms of Dogu, I'm disappointed with Dogu's attacking output. I think that more needs to be done in terms of him when he's getting in some dangerous areas in the final third. I think he lacks that attacking threat and that attacking output, in my opinion. But I've got him starting because I've got no one else. Then a front three of Mbumo, Cunha and Sesko. I'm bringing Cunha back in. Hopefully he is match fit to start. And then Mbumo, I think he's looked our most dangerous attacker so far this season. And then finally Sesko up front. Hopefully Sesko can bag. Honestly, I've seen his movement and he's looked decent. He is a really good, promising young striker. So hopefully he can bag tomorrow. In terms of United star man, I'm gonna have to say it's a toss up between Mbumo and Bruno Fernandes, because Bruno Fernandes has created the most chances in the Premier League so far this season. But I'm gonna have to go with Mbumo because I think he's looked at most dangerous player so far this season. He's got, obviously last season he scored 20 goals and provided 7 assists in the league. This season he's only scored that 1 goal against Burnley at home. Hopefully he can provide a couple more goals and assists, and then we should be looking good. But in terms of how do you beat Chelsea, first of all, solid defensive shape and discipline. Minimise mistake, especially in turnovers. Chelsea with players like Palmer, João Pedro can punish turnovers. Compactness, particularly in midfield and between the lines, so Chelsea's creative players can't find space. Be wary of Chelsea's threat out wide. Chelsea's wingmen or wide midfielders might try to stretch United. United must ensure their fullbacks or wingbacks aren't left exposed. Control the midfield tempo. United need to dominate or at least control the midfield well. If Chelsea have time on the ball, they'll build pressure. Use intelligent pressing and pressure at certain moments, and make the most of Bruno Fernandes, or whoever their creative players are, and to find ways to exploit Chelsea's defensive gaps. Use the home advantage. We are at home, so the onus is on us to kind of take the game to Chelsea. Hopefully we can do so. Early intensity can unsettle Chelsea, especially if they are cautious at first with away pressure. Be direct when needed, but smart about it. When chances arise, United should not overthink. Quick forward passes, get the ball into dangerous areas, but also mix with patient build-up play to avoid being caught on the counter. Chelsea will try to exploit the spaces that United leave behind, and set pieces can decide tight games. Good deliveries, movement, anticipating second balls, also take advantages of any individual mismatches in height and speed. Mentality, focus, and game management. United must stay focused, especially in the final stages. A lapse could cost them. If leading, they must manage the game intelligently, slow down, keep possession, and deny Chelsea any momentum. And if United do go behind, we must not panic too early. Look for structure and gradual build-up rather than desperate long balls. So what United must avoid, we must being stretched in the back line, especially on counters or when Chelsea overload the flanks. Poor defensive transitions and too much dependency on individual brilliance rather than collective organisation. So Chelsea are going to try to dominate that midfield. I think they could outnumber us in midfield with Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer. Hopefully we don't get outnumbered like we did against Manchester City. Too often against Manchester City last week we were outnumbered in midfield, so hopefully that doesn't happen again and we win the midfield battle. But yeah, in terms of, I think, most chances created in the Premier League, let me just confirm that is Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, that is let me just check most chances created in the Premier League. It is Bruno Fernandes. So far this season, Bruno Fernandes has created 14 chances in the Premier League, and Bryan Mbeumo has created 9 chances. So if Bruno Fernandes and Bryan Mbeumo are on their A game tomorrow, then it could be a really, really good kind of game for us. Hopefully we do come away with a win. But you know, I'm gonna go. I've kind of lost faith with the team. I'm gonna go for a loss. I'm gonna go for a 1-0 loss. Hopefully I'm proven wrong. I'm going to go with João Pedro to score the goal. Hopefully I'm proven wrong, and hopefully United do come away with the win. Like I said, I want us to win every game of football. I don't care who the manager is and who's on the pitch. But yeah, hopefully I'm proven wrong and United come away with all 3 points. Anyway, if you enjoyed this preview, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you after the match.